This particular bunk bed is going to be made out of nothing but 2x6s and 2x4s, like just about everything else I make, and primarily that's because it's cheap and it's readily available. Pretty much everybody has access to these. I'm going to start with the bed frames, and they're made out of 2x6s. I want to keep the sanding on this project down to a minimum, and that's so I can keep a lot of the character that the wood has, any imperfections, but I don't want to have any of these manufacturer marks to show through on the final project. So I'm going to run these through the thickness planer on both sides to gently remove just a little bit and get it back down to bare wood. Because most of the joinery will be covered by something else, I'm going to use pocket holes to make things go by a lot faster. Both of my bed frames are done so I can focus my attention on the actual mattress slats, and they're going to rest on a piece of 2x2 material. For me, it's cheaper to buy a 2x4 and just make my own 2x2 material, but if you don't have a table saw or you find that actually purchasing 2x2 material is cheaper, then that's definitely an option for you. I'm using regular 2x4s for these slats, and the reason being is it's cheaper to buy 2x4s for me than it is to buy the same amount of length in 1x4 material. Now I'm cutting a rabbet on both sides, but I'm not using a dado blade because I want to save the offcut piece, and once the center board is drilled and screwed into place, I'm going to use that offcut as a spacer to locate the next slat. Now just the center slat is going to be secured permanently with screws, but the rest of the slats will easily fit into the grooves that these offcuts will make. If you don't have a table saw or a bandsaw, I'm going to show you really quick how you can make the rabbet cuts on the end of your slats with just a regular handheld circular saw. This is just a jig with 3 pieces of wood screwed together at 90-degree angles, and if I slide it onto the piece of wood, it'll show me exactly where my first cut of the rabbet will be, and I need to set my blade depth to about 1/2 inch for this cut. To make the final vertical cut, I just need to clamp a fence to the side of my material so that the distance from the fence to where my saw blade will be is enough to remove 1/2 inch of material and set the depth of my blade to about 1.5 inches. So now that I've shown you how to make this cut with a circular saw, I'm going to go save a bunch of time and use my bandsaw. All 4 legs of the bunk bed are going to be an L-shaped formed by a 2x4 pocket hole screwed into a 2x6. I'm using pocket holes because I don't want any unsightly screw heads or carriage bolts to be seen on the outside of this bunk bed. But I don't necessarily want to see the pocket hole screws on the inside, so I'm going to very carefully space these so that they are in a location that will be further covered up by either a 2x4 piece of the ladder system or the actual bed frame itself. I wasn't that selective with these 2x6s, and most of them have some defects on the ends from the manufacturing process. I'll just plane these off with a block plane and then round over the edges if needed. The final pieces to install are these little blocks, and their only purpose is to help locate the actual bed frames during assembly. The inside corner of all of the bed frames gets 2 screws into the short side of the bed and then 6 screws into the long side of the bed, the front or the back, depending on which side you're on. And these 2 are just to hold it in place, and these 6 will prevent any type of racking this direction. The construction of this bunk bed is completed. There's no unsightly screw heads or lag bolts or carriage bolts on the outside of this thing. Everything is, all the hardware is on the inside of the bunk bed. Each of the short ends double as a full-size ladder to climb up to the top bunk. So depending on how you have this positioned, you can access the top bunk from either end. Now I didn't apply any finish just yet because I want to take some time to experiment with steel wool vinegar and some brie wax, so that will probably be in an upcoming video. If you'd like to build one of these bunk beds too, I do have a set of plans available on my website, and if this is your first time here and you want to see more projects just like this, then go ahead and subscribe. I post a new woodworking video pretty much once a week, and there's all kinds of other woodworking related content that I post on my website throughout the week. If you follow any of these social media platforms, then go ahead and check out my Facebook page. I'm most active on there, but I am on just about all the others. Thanks for watching, folks, and have a great day.